Hey, welcome back, Evil's Comics. Glad to have you back. I am Evil Mike, and this is going to be my review on some of the comics from July 6th, 2021. For some of y'all, it'll be 7/7. I'm going to break my reviews down this week because I picked up a lot. I can grab the stack real quick and show y'all, but if y'all haven't already seen, it was a huge comic book week. Mike picked up a lot of extra stuff for people that are watching my channel, your influence, stuff that y'all got me interested in. But as you can see, this is still a stack that I have not read, that will be read and will get reviewed. So I'm going to do this kind of like in 5-piece reviews. So I got 5 comics that added the stack. I did go DC, and I think this is the last time I'm going to do this. I don't know about y'all. I am a big DC fan. I'm a big comic book fan, but lately my interest has been like indies. Like I've been so interested to skip past all this other stuff and get to the indies, but I did not. I read, an order that I bought, not like specifically, but I started with DC, and I think this might be the last time I do this. I think I'm just going to read, towards the interest. Now, I'll read everything. I like reviewing everything for y'all. One reason is because I want the feedback. If you've read these comics, I want to know what you thought. How is my thinking aligned with yours? That kind of thing. Another thing, if you're new to comics, or I picked up titles that you don't pick up, it gives you a little view on those comics. Now, these are like brief reviews that I do. I try and keep it short and simple. I like to talk, so I can, and I try not to spoil, but I'm not bothered by spoils. I think that's a weird thing that has developed over the past 15 years, or it's been around forever. I think I came across it with Empire Strikes Back. Alright, enough rambling. So, not really in any particular order. I really liked all these comics. I want to say really the first 4, because it's 5, but it's not like top 1 through 5, nothing like that. All these comics were good. I will say I did save the comic I want to talk about for the last. So Suicide Squad number 5. And overall, it was a really great issue. If y'all don't know, we get kind of like 2 first appearance, and right here we get like Bloodsport, and he's going to be in the upcoming movie. We get him in his new costume right here. Basically, this whole issue is telling us what Bloodsport has been doing within the Suicide Squad with Amanda Waller, and I didn't notice it at first on the cover when I picked it up, and I really dug it after I did notice it. But Bloodsport has been traveling throughout the multiverses, and he's tracking down different people from different supers to obtain for Waller for the Suicide Squad. Now I'm showing you this specifically. This is the first appearance of Black Siren, which is, I think this is the Earth 3 version of like Black Canary, but this is specifically like the CW version of Black Canary. It's like her addition to our first time in comic books, so key appearance. But we basically go into like Bloodsport's relationship, what he's doing, some of the soups or enemies that he has, the villains that he has gone up against. But he's going up against the crime syndicate. Earth 3 is like the bad version. He does get here, and he's like not expecting bad versions, and Amanda Waller was not really forthright about telling him about these supers. I will say I did love Bloodsport's character in this. His writing was excellent. Overall, it was a great issue, especially because it was like a spin-off from what Suicide Squad has been doing with Red X and everything. I will say, for a lot of people that don't know, Ultraman, that, not only does he get high off of kryptonite, but, it fuels his power, and you can see in these panels right now. I love that about Ultraman. That gives him his powers. It's the opposite from our Superman. great read. Continues the story just in a different, but I love the multiverse part. What that they're adding all that is, the whole future state and Infinity Frontier that has opened up, and some of the characters in DC are exploring it. Next up, Conjuring the Lover. This is book number 2. I went with the VHS cover. I really dug these old VHS covers. I am a horror fan. I can say one thing about this comic. It does, I'm going to show you the title page. And right here it says, and it shows that there's, 2 main stories. And it is, The Conjuring the Lover, I suppose, which is this. And then it's, Tales from the Artifact Room, The Bloody Bride. And then Marquette Mail Orders. Now, technically, it is, I want to say it's 2 stories. It's set up so weird. The first story, I didn't even know if it was a continuation of the first book or if it was a completely new story, because it is kind of an anthology story. I want to say I spent 4 or 5 pages trying to, while reading the story, trying to figure out if this was, part of that first story that we read in the first book. It is. And it's really confusing. A lot of it has to do with the art. The art is not bad, but it's, up until I saw this one character, I was like, oh, okay, I do remember him from the first one. But technically the first story is just continuing a ritual that was placed on this girl, and now she is just, and I'm just showing you random art, but right here you can see with that shadowy guy that she's being followed by something. And it came from this ritual that was placed on her. The story is called The Lover, so I want to assume, it was, hint, hint. I will say the first edition to The Lover had a lot more Conjuring feel, that whole movie feel. It's, I would say, horror feel, but The Conjuring has a specific feel, so does Insidious, that whole universe that they have developed. I like both. This one did not really have that Conjuring feel. It was a good story. It was good horror. It wasn't really scary, but it was still a good story. I will say again with these mock-up, mail-in orders, I love those. Make sure you read them all or check them out. They're really funny. I would love to order a bunch of this stuff. Like the Book of Necronomicon. But, it says something like not responsible for lost fingers, kids are sticking their fingers in there and getting bit off. Next up was the short story, The Bloody Bride, and this was just a really great story in general. This book kind of reminds me of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I'm not really trying to compare it, but if I had to, it's kind of like that, because it's not like Tales from the Crypt. There's no, there's nobody explaining the stories of the book. It's really just a story. So if I had to, it's kind of like more Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, if y'all ever read that or saw the recent movie. It's not like the movie, but, the books. I was a big fan of the first 3 books that came out. This one is The Bloody Bride, and it's just basically about a girl that needs a wedding dress, and she comes across, per se, a haunted, wedding dress, and it's really just following her days leading up to the marriage and the story behind the wedding dress. Again, I'm not trying to go into too many spoilers. I can show you picture spoilers, there's some cool art that is attached to the book. But that is basically it, and I will say the second story was the better of the 2, partly because you didn't really have to figure out if it was the continuing story. It would have been nice if they were if they would have said continued from, I don't know. It was still good. Next up, Crushing Lobo number 2. I went with the variant cover by, and I want to get his name right because I love this art, so I actually kind of looked up, made sure and I already forgot it, but Dan Mora, and it's right there, but it's together, Dan Mora. But this was a really great, fun read. It's basically, Crush is still in space. She's on her way to go see her dad, Lobo. And it's kind of like a 2-part story because she's going through the breakup with her girlfriend. So she's kind of reflecting and remembering moments that they had. We get to see their first meeting, which was really fun. Them at a park, and it's their first romantic meeting, and it's like how they grew together. You know, she's listening to songs and she's remembering about her. You know, like, damn, what did I do? I'm so dumb. She does run out of coffee, and she ends up going to this coffee shop. She ends up running into like a previous, you know, not villain, but like, you know, a guy that she's already beat up before for some other reason, and now, you know, he's trying to get revenge on her. He does sell her some nice coffee, and she does make a comment like, "Why didn't you just poison the coffee?" Because he is like a barista, a space barista, and he's got all these like space barista workers that work for him that are all like reptilian, satanic looking. I don't know. But it's kind of like her stopping off to get coffee is like the main story, and then her on the way to Lobo. But as you know, she's doing this, you're getting all the backup from what she's going through as far as the breakup and stuff like that. After the fight with the guy, she gets blasted out in space, and she does get picked up by like a prison vehicle that takes her straight to, you know, where her dad is. There is in this comic a lot of the complaints where Lobo wasn't in the book. He will be. Come on, man. A lot of books are set up like this, but Lobo was in this book, and I can say very little compared to the first book. Which, I mean, I like Crush. It's Lobo's daughter, man. I mean, she even states it on the very last page. Like, really great read, really fun read. No complaints at all. The art was amazing. It's really good. Next up, now, this for me, I love this comic. I've heard, you know, mixed reviews on it. I have loved her whole journey. I'm so glad I've been, like, I have every issue she's appeared in. I haven't been able to do that with a lot of people. I think right now it's just the next Batman and Wonder Girl, because Punchline, I messed up because the whole Hell Arisen thing got released. I don't know. Yay, COVID. But, so Wonder Girl 2, we're picking up right where it left off before, and she is in the clutches, and I think the snake woman is Aria, I'm sorry, Aria, Iara. And we basically get the backstory on who this is. It's she can be a villain, she can be a good entity, but it's basically like a demigod that's in this lake that has come across Wonder Girl. I was right. This is the story on how she gets her first weapon. Everybody had missed that, but it is the significance. It's also like the you know, like how I think she obtains her Wonder Girl, or, you know, they were calling her Wonder Woman, but her status, you know, quote, power. I will say I love the art. I'm new to Jolie Jones, but man, I love all the art. The cover, I don't think she did the cover, but I mean, I love that cover. But all the art in the interior is just, it's just beautiful. There's not a single panel that looks rushed, or, you know, everything looks like she really took her time. Like there, I mean, every page, you know, that's a Hippolea right there in her rendition. I like, you know, everything about it. But we do get, you know, basically that's like her waking up, you know, from her gaining her powers. After that, it's like it goes into the other part of the story from part one, where it, like all the other Amazons and on the planet, like right here we got Hippolea and Wonder Girl. We got like a previous scene where it was like, I don't remember who these two are, but this is Queen Nubia, I think, and I forget who this is right here. But all the groups, there's some kind of prophecy that's tied to Wonder Girl, and either something bad is going to happen or something good has happened. So forces around the world are like convening to stop her. She is in Brazil, and this is like on her way to Brazil, and she was attacked by like, you know, different assassins. But they do show like right here that this is like her getting her Wonder Girl powers, and it's new to her. She's fought before, but she punches this girl, and instantly it's like, and she's on the ground, and Yara's like, what the heck? You know, I didn't punch her that hard. I mean, I can't go too much past that. I will say the ending was amazing. The introduction of the god Eros, and that is him right here in the toga with the bow and arrow. And also we get to see it in, yeah, let me make sure I read it. It's Zephyros, and you can see him right here. He's saving that plane. But that's where I'll leave it at, because after that page there's a major spoiler that is going forward. I am really looking forward to it. I love this story so far. I love Wonder Girl. Jolie Jones, you are killing it. If y'all have not read this, if y'all have, let me know. If y'all haven't, you need to go find it. It's still, I mean, I've still seen number ones out there. Alright, last up, and a big one for a lot of people, Nice House on the Lake, James Tinian, book number 2. I went with cover A. I did dig this art. Alright, so usually like in a big storyline, the second issue is kind of a filler issue. I will say there were some things I did not like about this comic. I'm not going to say I did like the comic, and there were a lot of things I did like. I mean, especially the beginning art. The beginning art was really good. Now I will say the art is kind of one of my complaints, but my big one are these pages. Now I love reading. I'm a big book reader. I'm a big comic book reader. There's like 5 pages of script in the book, a lot of it, and I mean, at one part it's like, and it goes through, it's like consultant, accountant, scientist, artist, it's like one-liners. It's like reading a screenplay if you've ever read a screenplay. But first off, it's really incredibly confusing to read script like that, especially because this is the second book and we're not completely familiar with all the characters. I mean, I've read the first book, and yeah, the comedian, the artist, blah blah blah, I got that down, but I haven't associated like who's who, and I don't I don't know who that guy is yet. Is he the rocker, the artist? They haven't really built up the characters enough for them to be throwing in stuff like that. So that's kind of my first complaint. I mean, it's not hard to follow, but it's just reading it on this level and then trying to associate it with who these characters are. And it's not like they're giving us hey, little memos above these people's heads, like this is Naomi and this is Rebecca and this is Robert, and those are not real names. But it was really confusing on who, trying to build the relationship with these characters, because it's just spoken words, and I'm not really sure who it's attached to. There is a lot of the stuff, we do get some nice, this full sprayed spray. I like that. Now another complaint I did have was kind of the art. I want to say the first 5-6 pages were amazing art, and then it gets halfway through the book and it's for some reason everything in the house is just very shadowy. Now, I mean, it is the end of the world, that is the setup of the book, but at the same time they do explain a lot of things, that the lights are working on the house, they have internet, this person, Walter, or being, or whatever he is, he has made it so some things still work. It's explained that if they run out of cigarettes, they just magically appear, kind of thing. They don't have to worry about food. They do make it to this library, and the library has every book and comic book that this guy Walter has ever suggested them to read. I will like to add that over here it is little Easter eggs, but they are blueprints for the house that show up, in certain parts of the story, and they're showing you little secrets, when they do find the locked room in the house. But the shadowy thing, for one, right here you can really see it in detail, and I understand it's supposed to it's a dark story. Maybe it's we all see sunset scenes or something like that, but I mean, you don't really get to see when I already had the problem trying to associate the characters, and then it's a lot of the characters are just hidden. I know that's a white guy with blonde hair, but I think there's 3 other white guys with blonde hairs, and it's a lot of these scenes are very shadowy, and for me it was hard to really connect who was that guy, who was that guy, who was that guy. Now I can say in this issue overall, it was really easy to follow the story. It wasn't that, these are small complaints. It was still a good read, and for me it was kind of a filler issue. But it's basically set up, and it minus the complaints, but it's basically set up, and it's continuing exactly from the moment we left off in the first one, where Walter appeared and doing this weird thing, and he blew off. I couldn't really tell what happened in the first one, but they explained it that from the elbow, like that guy just blew his arm off. I don't, you know. And so that there's a part, like a lot of this is like, you know, was them, you know, one page was all dedicated to, you know, all the characters reacting and trying to heal that guy before he bled out or whatever, because what that guy Walter did. After that, there is this part with this girl in red where they're trying to figure out her association with everybody in the house. Walter has handpicked everybody, and at one point they've all kind of either known each other but they were all somebody important through Walter's life, high school, middle school, college. And these are just people that he ran into, that he fell in love with, and for some reason he brought them to this house. There is one person that doesn't fit in. She doesn't know anybody in the group. She doesn't understand why Walter brought her. But a lot of this is just, you know, it's just people, you know, these characters dealing with what has happened in the outside world, that they're like the last people alive. There is one really cool part where they do find this statue, and when they touch the statue, it does show them, like, I don't know how to put it, but it like literally beams images of the outside world straight into their head. And it like literally proves, you know, what Walter has told them, that the end of the world is, you know, but it shows right here them touching that statue, and when they do touch the statue, you know, that's what they get to see. Now, I did have the 2 complaints. That doesn't mean this is a bad comic. Do not get that express. It was a really good comic. I want to give it, like, if I had to say out of a 10, I'd give it a 7. But it's really the art. I was really like, I mean, for me, I want to associate. I want to know all the characters, what, you know, especially when I'm reading a story. And I can say so far, for me, it was a little bit confusing. I would like to say, if y'all read it and y'all had an easier time, reach out to me, you know, be like, hey, you missed this, that makes it easier, you know. I did like it. For the most part, all the story and scripted parts are easy to follow. I couldn't associate who was saying what, you know, in the script parts. And the specific art parts, you know, it's easy to follow. There's not, I mean, it's not like, you know, brain science or anything, not like that. But there's just, you know, there are little clues that are going on, especially with these symbols. Each one of the symbols represents one of the people in the house. Like this, it is book 2, but they have a symbol highlighted. I don't know who any of the symbols go with yet. I haven't been able to associate, you know, if that's the writer or the comedian or the, I don't know, you know, I mean, I could go back to the first book, but I don't want to do that for all 12 issues where I'm having to going back to the first issue to reference who is that character, is, you know, what symbol is he tied to, kind of thing. Okay, so the first 5 books that I have to review, you know, these are just my thoughts. Please read these, or, you know, get your own opinion. You know, I try not to offend. That is not my point here. If y'all really love this book, let me know. Let me have it. Be like, you missed it, you know. I don't know. If y'all feel the same, let me know about that too. Any other books that I read, you know. But so far, all of them have been really good reads, and I'm looking forward to the next reads. I kind of saved the next, like, 4, you know, because it's like Justice League and then Batman. And the next one, I'll throw in, like, Spider-Man. I'll read these next. But that's what I got coming. I gotta go to work. But I'm gonna try and do it where I'll read 5 tonight. You'll get another video. I'll read another 5. You'll get another video. So I don't throw out too much. Alright, guys. Y'all have a great one. Go pick up some comics. Love everybody you run into. You know, just throw them a smile. Tell them evil said. Don't do that. Y'all have a great day. Thanks. I love y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. I drop a lot of content. I love doing it. Oh, man.